went to the Crash tour stop in Boston, Charli XCX ongoing tour last week. Is a tour that I had kind of resigned myself to perhaps not going because I had waited in the Ticketmaster line back when this all went on sale and got just screwed by a lag and server crashing and got screwed out of Charli XCX tickets, which is, you wouldn't ascribe that level of demand to Charlie the way you exposed to like other pop stars on national tours. Not what I expected to have her buying her tickets be a huge challenge, but she does is selling out this entire tour. So I guess it's not uh, completely unexpected, but I think that's also the perks of living really close to a venue where you can really play that secondary market to the last minute and wait for price drops. So even though I spent, two and a half times as much as I would have if I actually had bought them from Ticketmaster, I nonetheless still got to go. And it was really cool to be in like a sold out show and see Charlie for the first time in a small venue like House of Blues Boston, 1,000 person venue. So it's really close, really small. And even though she doesn't have a number one album in the US, she has one top 10 album here. She has like doesn't have platinum song. She's not like a super A-lister as a performer. Obviously, her songwriting gets there, but for songwriting for other people, even though she's not like at that status, she still has this rabid fan base, and it was really cool to be in that room with that energy and just see that, where even if you aren't the top of the A list, you can still be incredibly successful. And I think that was what immediately struck me about just being in that room and being around all these people that knew the words to all of the songs off Crash, an album that had only come out a few weeks ago. And it was a great time. I think the set design, even for a small venue, pretty cool. It was like this like staircase with like this ramp in there. And Charlie, I think, brought what we had kind of been seeing from everything that was rolled out with the Crash album and the music videos, namely that she's doing choreography and dancing full time in her performance for the first time with this tour and with the videos for this album. And that's definitely a change. But she had two background dancers with her, and she was doing all this varied choreography for like almost all of the songs, honestly. And that's definitely a change. And I think if there's one criticism I would have is that there are times when she kind of has to rely on the backing track a bit when it's like the intense choreography, which is not uncommon for a lot of vocalists that are doing like hardcore dancing and performance. And I'm sure it's something that will continue to improve as she does more of this performance with choreography moving forward. Obviously, it is new for her, but yeah, I just had a really good time because she just has a lot of great songs, and again, everyone in the room really dug all those songs, and she even, I think, livened up songs that aren't nearly as energetic in their studio form. A song like "Party for You" off "How I'm Feeling Now," which is auto-tuney song. That was like really fun live, and even "New Shapes" off "Crash," the one with Christine the Queens and Carolyn Polachek. Like, I don't even like love that song that much, but like that song rocked when she performed it, and kind of changed my opinion on the song a little bit. It's always really cool to kind of have that experience when the live performance brings something different or slightly new to music you already know. And
Yeah, I
yeah,
always really appreciate when those live versions hit different. It just adds something.
totally, totally. Yeah, and I mean, I think it's no secret that like Charlie XCX's fan base, the Angels, like it's very LGBT friendly, and that was on full display at her show. It was really cool to be in that room and just see tons of happy people, happy being who they are. And Charlie, of course, plays into that full blast. She's selling like douches at the merch table, for example. But even like when she's about to perform one of her biggest hits, "Boys," she dedicates it to all the gay boys, quote unquote, to use her exact phrasing. That was fun too. But yeah, I was kind of surprised actually. Her closing track, her last track after coming out for the what do you call it, the encore, was "Good Ones," actually, lead single off Crash. I wouldn't peg that as her biggest or most popular song, but that was actually what she closed with. And right before that, she did "Unlock It," off Pop 2, which is probably the true closer. But I think like starting off the encore, she comes back out and does Vroom Vroom. Of course, her viral hit that really kind of propelled the critical reevaluation of her career back when that came out. Coming out to Vroom Vroom and performing that and not actually dancing for that, and just kind of like rapping that song as it goes. And again, seeing everyone super hyped for a weird ass hyper pop song like Vroom Vroom, just a cool experience. So yeah, definitely happy I was able to swing the those tickets and go because they were clearly in hot demand. But also, it's a small venue show. You got to take advantage of those kind of opportunities when they present themselves.
Yeah, I was wondering because you mentioned that she played "Party for You." How many
Mhm.
songs from "How I'm Feeling Now" did she play? Because that was a pandemic album that she obviously didn't get to tour for.
Yeah, and other than "Party for You," I there's there weren't too many others. None that I can remember. My favorite song off that album, "I Finally Understand," she did not play. So yeah, I think for the most part she kind of jumped around, but didn't really hit that album too much, which I guess kind of makes sense because a lot of that does kind of clash with what's going on with
Yeah.
Crash. Also, she didn't play her Iconopop feature big hit. I don't care. I love it. Which is a song she's actually kind of disowned. Honestly, doesn't really jive with the lyrics, so she did not play that one. But I think nevertheless, there's still a lot of like bangers. 1999, huge hit. Used to Know Me off the new record, huge hit. Unlock It was probably the biggest hit I would say overall. But yeah, it was a blast.
Seeing Dua just a few weeks back and then seeing Charlie,
Mhm.
I think different in terms of type of music, but similar in terms of like production, choreography. I mean, obviously Dua's got a much bigger budget for
Yeah,
her choreography. How would you compare the two shows?
right. So I think the Dua concert was such a long time coming with all the pandemic delays that when you see the Future Nostalgia tour, it's just so precise in its
Mm,
choreography, in its planning, that it just feels so like professional and like tuned up, and it was great, you know. And it's not that Charlie's not professional, but I think she just kind of carries a natural edge to her because that's just like how she handles her artistry. You know, not that like Dua Lipa's completely sanded down, but like that was an arena tour. It's inevitably going to feel different than a theater room tour. So,
yeah, for sure.
but
All
still
right.
good.
Well, I'm glad that you got to see her, Dave. I'm glad you decided to buy those tickets. And I'm glad we got to talk about Charlie again.